clips and all that kind of thing will be captured, and obviously it's kind of recording what we're saying as well. So
okay.
you don't need to try and I've got to try and remember that, because it's all going to be sent to you anyway. All right, so just kind of go with it for now. Okay. So you're doing Outlaw Full?
Yep.
You doing any training races or anything before that?
Nothing formally planned. No.
Okay.
Just trying to get as much cycling and running as possible, but I've damaged my ankle somehow. I had an Achilles problem a couple of years ago, and now it's ended up with a sort of the band down here.
Oh yeah, plantar fasciitis.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was that, and then I've stretched it out.
Yeah.
And now I've ended up with some sort of pain at the top of my foot, which feels kind of difficult to stretch that way. Anyway, I need to see a physio about that.
Yeah, it's classic running injury, particularly when people kind of potentially might overdo it a little bit or not give themselves enough recovery, that kind of thing. But I'm sure you'll get that. So I've been there. I was out for 3 years with various Achilles problems and all sorts. I'm sure yours won't be that bad. Yeah, I mean, I've had, everyone gets Achilles problems, calf problems all the way along. It's just constant.
Yeah.
But I had a particularly bad one. So anyway, we're talking about swimming. All right. So have you done a full before?
No. I did the Ironman half over in Redditch. So I did, I guess, the equivalent of the swim distance before.
Yeah.
Then
what's the distance of that then? Is it?
So I think
is that the one where it's 7 of each?
So it's 3.5 miles swim for the half.
Yeah.
And then something like a 60k bike ride and then a half marathon.
Okay.
So that's probably the closest thing I've done to it. Did the relay 24-hour swim-a-thon a few years ago down, I forget where that was now, down south somewhere. And so that was, I guess, 6 miles but over 24 hours.
What time did you do for swimming the Ironman?
I was probably the last out of the water, which is
I'm sure
I don't remember the exact time, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So, how often are you swimming at the moment? First of all.
Only once, twice a week.
Okay. That's going to need to go up.
Yeah.
Have you got a plan?
No formal plan. No.
Okay. All right. So we can give you a full distance plan. Okay. I can send that through with your notes tomorrow.
All right.
So I'll give you a full distance. I'll do a kind of beginner stroke intermediate Ironman training plan.
Yeah.
So that's pretty straightforward to follow, and I'll also give you access to the Swim Smooth training app. So there's a whole load of training sessions on there and videos about kind of how to improve your catch or whatever. It's a wealth of information on there. So I'll give you access to that tomorrow as well. But the most important thing is you get that training, good formal training plan in place and stick to it. Swimming is very much a volume-based sport.
Yeah.
And if you want to improve and you want to be not getting out of the water on your last legs and having to get on the bike, you want to be fit, you're going to have to swim 3 times a week minimum, maybe 4 times a week, as you kind of go into maybe the last 8 weeks of training.
Yeah.
So definitely volume.
Okay.
All right. And when you do swim, make sure that you're swimming. They're all doing a test. They're all testing. You're making them all test. You're so cruel. So the content of the sessions is making sure that you're getting the right amount of speed work in there, the right amount of endurance, obviously, but also when you do kind of threshold, it's like to running and cycling, threshold work.
Yeah.
So you're quite specific about the training you're doing. Because swimming is one of these nightmare sports where if you get in and you haven't really got a plan, it can be really difficult.
Yeah.
Motivation is difficult, and you faff about, chat, and wiggle with your goggles, and all that kind of stuff. So definitely worth having a good plan in there. Okay, all right. So let's have a look at you. So the first thing I mentioned when I saw you swim really was the kick.
Right.
You're almost kind of looking like you're trying to run through the water a little bit, the way your legs move. All right. You move pretty nicely, actually. Now, from the side view, this is the most forgiving view, if you like, from the pool side. I'm looking at things like the height of the head position. We'll have a closer look at that in a second. Mm-hmm. What the arms are doing when they recover. So the height of the recovery and the angle that they enter the water are the main things. I'm going to get my laptop wet. So the first thing I'm seeing here is that the arm is entering and swinging around, leaving the water, and swinging around the arm, the water really low.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's very little height. Now, if you have very little height on your recovery, so you're just skimming the surface of the water, you're only probably 4, 5, maybe 6 inches at the elbow high there.
Yeah.
When you enter, you're going to come in really shallow.
Yeah.
And you can almost kind of see what's happening there already. Is the hand is kind of heading over in front of the head.
Yeah.
So you kind of, I'll show you a good way to do it is to look at these animations. So there's different ways of swimming front crawl. I mean, you look at swimmers, they all swim differently, and some of it works, some of it doesn't work so much. But the top of the tree styles that people kind of aim for, if you like, are there's a smooth type stroke, which is like a classic pool stroke.
Yeah.
Beautiful and long and rangy stroke. Kind of stroke that makes people feel really jealous about the way the way they move. You're not going to swim like that.
Right.
Okay, so forget that. That's for people who have learnt swimming as a kid and they've already got a really well the movement patterns are really well ingrained. Please go past. You're not going to swim like that. You're going to swim more like this, which is more of a triathlete stroke. So it's more of a swinging type stroke, where the arms swing around the outside. Now, yours are kind of doing that, but what yours are doing differently is, let's see what height she's got on these arms here. Let's do the other arm. So there's a lot more height on the arm. It's not hugely high from the clearance of the water, but if you look at the hand position, the hand comes out of the hand comes out of the water, stays behind the elbow, all the way to the midpoint.
Yep.
And then it overtakes and then spears in. Look at the depth it spears into. Okay? And it spears in. When I say spears into the water, the first time it hits the water is actually quite wide.
Yeah.
Okay? Continues to rotate, and then that hand finishes in front of the shoulder. And then you start to catch.
Why is it a good idea for it to come in at a wide angle?
Because if you were to enter the water, let's take this back. If you were to enter the water, where I suspect you do, we'll have a look in a minute. In front of the head here, momentum, you're still rotating and the hand is travelling that way, you will end up with the hand coming over here.
Right.
And then what you've got to do is you've got to then pull it back and then get over the top. So you see a lot of people coming over and then, particularly when they breathe, is they slice back out again and then they start to catch. So that bit is doing nothing for you. It's a dead part of the stroke.
Okay.
Drops the stroke rate, you lose momentum, the legs start to sink and it all starts to go pear-shaped. All right, so it's really important that we get the hand entry right, the recovery right. Okay, so just kind of painting the picture there a little bit. If we go back to you, we've only seen one stroke so far, we haven't seen very much, so I suspect it's coming in a little bit low. We'll have a look at your head position when you're facing this way, but as you can already see, your head's up. Okay, we'll have a closer look at that in a second. So the left-hand side, that's interesting. When you breathe, the arm is much higher. So it tells me you're not rotating on the non-breathing side. Okay. Oops, blimey, what's that? Wrong button. So let's carry on playing that through. Well done, Matt. Okay, that's similar. So hopefully you'll breathe this way, or I might dip underneath the water with the camera. When are you going to breathe? Typical, you breathe, this is how I went into the water. We'll have a look on the way back. Okay, now, let's have a look at your kick here. It's like an outboard motor. That is burning so much gas. I know you probably won't swim an Ironman like that, but I mean, if you look at these guys, he's got a pull buoy in, to be fair, but they've all got pull buoys in. We don't kick much. We never do kick drills in our squad. Never do kick drills. The kick, particularly for triathletes, is more about balancing the stroke than it is for propulsion. It's not propulsion for you. It's about balancing up the stroke. just every time you take a stroke, the legs are just gently providing the rest of the body with some kind of balance there. All right, so we want to drop that kick down. We'll have a chat about that a little bit later. So let's just take you back a little bit. Okay, so here we go, breathing. We'll start with this stroke. So the left arm comes in. That's actually spearing into a decent depth. But what it's not doing is it's coming in and then going straight down. There's no extension at the front of the stroke. So ideally, again, if we go back to this. Let's have a look from above, actually, where she is now. So the hand enters the water, and then there's an extension there. Yeah. It's not a glide, it's just as you rotate, and again, if you're not rotating very much, which you're not, you don't get much reach, because it's the rotation which gives you the extra length of the stroke. You get over the top of the stroke, and then we actually start the catch. What you're doing is you're kind of rushing it a little bit, and if I play at full speed, it's a bit windmilly. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just kind of, it's in and down, in and down, in and down. So it's okay, but it's just, there's not a huge amount of control there. The propulsion, the front end of the stroke, your catch is where 90% of your propulsion will come from, maybe probably 95% of your propulsion. Right. All right, so we've got to make sure it works for obvious reasons. So let's just take that back again here. Now, what we've got to do here is decide what we're going to attack on, what we're going to work on. Now, I think, do you swim with a pool boy very much?
Never.
Never? Okay. Have you ever used one?
No.
No, you're going to love pull buoys.
Right.
Because they switch the legs off. Your effort level is going to go like that.
Right.
Okay? If you think about it, I mean, we do a lot of pull buoy swimming, and the reason for that is because it kills the legs off a little bit. They don't work so hard. The cardiovascular type workout level is dropped.
Yeah.
And if you've got no legs, then you're forced to use the front end. Yeah. Which is what we want.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll do. I'll get you. If you've never used a pull buoy, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. Another thing you can try also, but it's going to not stop you kicking, is buoyancy shorts. Right. I don't know if you've seen those. They're like wetsuit material, but they're jammers, but wet's made out of wetsuit material. So it's the equivalent of a pull buoy, but without actually having a pull buoy. I think probably Grant's got some on there. So yeah, it just lifts your bum up, which gets your legs up. Which again allows you to think about the front end of the stroke, but it gives you a bit of freedom to move your legs a bit more.
Right.
Right. So the next thing I'm kind of looking at here is you're looking a long way forwards.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, anything which lifts up at the front is going to make the legs drop. It's going to make the body drop. The most efficient swimmers are those who have a good body position, because they don't have the drag to contend with. What we're looking at doing when we're trying to improve swimmers is two things: reduce drag and improve propulsion. Okay, drag is most kind of beginner and intermediate swimmers' biggest problem.
Yeah.
If you look at someone, this is Rebecca Adlington.
Right.
She's completely on the surface. Look, her bum's on the surface, her heels are on the surface.
That's what I think.
That's what you look like. God, if only we all want to look like that. And she's probably swimming at about 430 to 400 pace here. But but the body position is just incredible. So what we need to look at with yourself here is how can we, again, if we just play this through here. So if your body position, it's actually not too bad, but in general, you're coming down from the surface of the water, the surface of the water with the lane rope. Okay, so you are dropping down a little bit. Now, one of the things which is causing that is your kick.
Yeah.
Because you're kicking hard and you're kicking from the knee as well. And what that's actually doing is it's probably actually, have you ever done the kicking? Pure kicking?
Sorry, just kicking.
Just kicking with a kickboard.
No.
You probably wouldn't go anywhere.
Right.
You probably, I mean, we'll have a go. You probably won't go anywhere because you generate so little propulsion that sometimes actually the kind of the drag and the turbulence caused by an incorrect kick actually produces negative propulsion, so it can suck you back. so it's you're a lose. It's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
That, all right. So we'll have a look at your head position, and I'm going to go through how we're going to fix all these things. I'm just kind of firing.
Yeah,
It might
sure.
sound like a bit of a
No, it's good to hear.
character assassination to start off with, but that's why you're here, is it?
Yeah.
All right. Not for character assassination, but you know. So, head position. I'm not too concerned about what's happening underneath the water at the moment because, in terms of the catch, because we're going to be working on the recovery, and as soon as we alter the recovery, the catch will change because your arms are going to be coming at a different angle.
Yeah.
Okay. So, albeit I said you need to stretch the catch out more, I think that some of the changes that we're going to make are actually going to improve the catch, without us actually working on the catch. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to worry too much about that for now. What I'm going to jump forward to here is your head position. So you're looking forwards when you breathe. Here we go. You're going to breathe left here. Okay. So your head's right up.
Yeah.
So do you watch any of this? Do you know about any of the Swim Smooth video?
Yes,
Have you-
yeah,
have you-
I
have you-
read the book.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what Popeye breathing is then? Remember
It was a while ago. I'm
that?
afraid.
Okay. Okay. All right. So if we look at so what we want to do ideally with the head position is keep the head down really low.
Yeah.
Okay, because that, as I said before, if you lift the head up, the legs will drop. If you keep it nice and low, it's like a seesaw effect. The legs will be higher in the water.
Yeah.
You'll be faster in the water because you've got less propulsion. And what you've got to rely on here is this bow wave forms around the head. When you keep the head low, the bow wave forms, so the water comes up high on the top of the forehead and actually makes a little trough for you to breathe into. So keeping your head down low actually gives you more space, if that makes
See,
sense. You know? So we'll do a little bit of work on head position today for sure. And what I'm really interested in now, which is the biggie, is whether or not I think you're holding your breath. Because as with any sport, breathing has to be the first thing that you look
Yeah.
at. Okay? We've got to have nice, relaxed, continuous breathing. If you hold your breath, it can
Yeah.
cause all sorts of problems. So you can see straight away you're not breathing out.
Yeah.
The breathing physically means you're holding air in your lungs. Makes the chest rise, make another thing to make the legs drop. Okay. It can also make you feel like you do actually get a physical kind of build up of CO2 if you're not breathing effectively.
Yeah.
It can make you feel, so talk about, do you feel anxious? It can make you feel a bit anxious and short of breath. People sometimes in the open water will panic a bit. You get this kind of panicky breathing.
Yeah.
The main thing for you is that it affects the timing of the stroke.
Yeah.
Because what happens, and we've seen it with your head position already, and we can see you've taken a breath in, there's nothing coming out, nothing coming out, nothing coming out, nothing coming out, blah, 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 keep going. Starts to breathe out
Yeah.
there, but what's actually happening is the bulk of it is going out when your head's actually turned.
Yeah.
So if you imagine what you're doing there is rather than breathe, sorry, get it right?
Yeah.
Rather than breathe in, head back in, breathe out, breathe in, head back in, what you're doing is you're breathing out and then breathing in, and you're spending too long on your side, you continue over rotating, the lead arm goes because you're spending too long there, and all the timing goes to pop.
Yeah.
So you've got to get in, out, out.
Yeah.
It's really important, the breathing side of things, and it can really change people's strokes a lot. Okay, so breathing and head position are definitely two biggies today. We are going to work on your kick just so as that you know how to kick effectively, and just kind of how subtly you need to change it. I think you're really going to benefit from that. Right. Now this is you from above. and this is the main thing you see from here, is the big bend in the elbow. Remember I showed you that clip? And the hand kind of swings around the side until the midpoint when the arm is out here. What yours is very arm led. So the hand led. So it swings around the outside and then comes in this way. If you look at where it enters, so it enters in front of the shoulder. It's actually not too bad, but ideally it would swing around and enter a little bit wider.
Right.
And then when you breathe, it's just kind of sliding out, going deep. There's no, I'm going to get hold of that water and I'm going to push that water back. It just kind of slips through.
Yeah.
And here we go. This is where we see the big breath out and breathe in. In fact, you can probably see it when you turn here. All this here is you breathing out.
Yeah.
And because you're spending so long there, that arm's gone. That arm should still be here. It should still be out front. The recovering arm overtakes the head. Your head should be back in the water now. And you get all kind of bent out of shape. Your legs split to balance you up. And the timing, you can see the timing, it just looks a bit clunky. All right. So what we're going to do with you then, to put all this right, now when it comes to swim correction, you end up with this like this chain reaction effectively. So it might sound like I've just fired about 1 billion things at you which need to be worked on, and there are quite a few things, but most of them are linked. So if we work on breathing, head position, and things like the rotation and you're improving your kick, i.e. reducing it down, getting to kick from the hips a little bit more, that's going to make a hell of a difference to the way you move. Okay, it's going to fix the vast majority of the other things that we talked about, so the recovery, the quality of the catch and the pull through. So that's what we're going to do. So the way we're going to do that is we are going to do some drills, which first of all we're going to do the sink down drill. Just make you get used to fully exhaling, because we need to get you used to exhaling into the water.
Right.
Okay. It looks a bit daft, but it really pays off this. You suddenly get tuned into what you need to do to get that air out. So we do some basic drills called the sink down drill there. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get you to swim with some fins on and do a little bit of kick work, because we need you to kick with the fins on in order to do the drills to carry on working on the breathing.
Right.
All right. So we're then going to do a drill called, or it's just an exercise, I guess, called bubble breathe, where you just swim front crawl, it's a normal front crawl with the fins on, and you breathe in, and every time your head goes back in the water, swim smooth and say bubble. You actually say the word bubble into the water, but I prefer people just to breathe in and go, breathe in, because making the noise, you have to breathe out to make the noise, and also the noise reminds you you've got to do it every time. All right. It sounds a bit daft and no one can hear you because it's all in the water, but it works really well.
Right.
Okay, and that will already start to affect the timing of your stroke. Probably make you feel a little bit, make you feel a bit easier as well. All right. When we get that done, we're going to work on. I'm going to do it quite simply, really. It's going to get you to work on the rotation a little bit more. That's going to be done by kind of just verbal feedback. Okay. And just relaxing the arms and relaxing the shoulders in the recovery, and see if we can get them being a little bit more like this, just nice and relaxed, swinging around the outside edge and not kind of coming in elbow first like you are at the moment. So the rotation and a nice relaxed recovery will improve your catch. If you look at her kick, look, just a 2 beat kick, it's not doing anything. All right. And I think that's pretty much all we're going to be able to get through today, but I think that will make serious inroads to you.
Sounds good.
You with me? Do you understand all that?
Understand.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I see you're itching to get back in. All right. Let me just switch this off then.